to order. At this time, we'll have a roll call.
Director Jewell,
Here.
Director Smith,
Here.
Director Roberts,
Here.
Assistant Mayor Harris,
Here.
Director Hollobush,
Here.
Director Brewer,
Here.
Mayor Brown.
Here. At this time, we'll have our invocation given by Director Brewer. The Pledge of Allegiance will also be given by Director Brewer. The Pledge of Allegiance will be by Trooper Solomon Pfeiffer? Is he here?
Yeah, he can walk.
Okay.
May we all bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we say thank you for your grace and your mercy you show us each and every day. We thank you, Lord, for our leadership. We thank you, Lord, for the fellowship of Texarkana. But we pray that you will endow them, Lord, with the strength, the support, and the stamina they need to lead and serve and protect with honor, courage, and diligence. We pray for our time together tonight, that we make progress for all people for this city, to make this city a better place for all. We thank you, we love you, we appreciate you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. At this time, we'll move right on into our citizens' communication time. I have two people that have requested to speak so far. If you would like to address the board tonight, it's beneficial for us to have a citizens' communication card there on the ledge. If you will get that to our city clerk, fill it out, we'll have a record of you speaking. She can get that to me so that you can be recognized. Also, if you have your cell phones with you tonight, would you please silence your cell phones during the course of the meeting. First up is Sandra Bell. Talk about her water bill. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Sandra Bell, and I own a small office building on 37, 16, 18, and 20 Jefferson Avenue. Normally, the water bill has been $85. We have 3 little toilets, 3 sinks. There's one, Bill Morrow is there pretty much every day, and the other 2 are not there very often. February the 21st, I received a water bill for $431.20. I was beside myself. My husband, I'm having to do everything. My husband has had some little strokes, but anyway, I go down to the water. I have been to the water company on 4 different occasions, but I went down and I said, "Help me. Tell me what I'm supposed to do." And they didn't say anything. I said, "What am I supposed to do? I don't know." And anyway, I think I even went another time, and finally I became agitated, and she said, "Well, here's some packages of some little purple pills, and you put them in the tank, and after 15 minutes, if the water in the bowl turns purple, then you've got a leak." Well, I called a plumber. Well, what I did was call 3 or 4 plumbers, and the first one that would come was Patrick Richardson. And he came, checked all the toilets and the sinks, and said everything was fine. I paid him $125. The next month, I received a bill for $182, and I thought, well, it's less than $431. I won't say anything, and I'll just pay it. And I paid it. Then on, let me see when it was. It was May 4th. I received a bill. First, I saw it on my cell phone. It was $887.59. I was beside myself. Went back up. I've been to the water company 4 times, and I'm talking to all these people. I'm talking to people, and I said, "What do I do? What do I do?" And somebody said, "Well, you know, you could have somebody that's stealing water from the faucet in the back of the building." And I said, okay, so get a lock and put a lock on the faucet. So I go to Lowe's, and they don't have them. They said to order it from, anyway, I got one at Harbor Freight, and I put a lock on my faucet in the back of the building. This is not a large building. It's 1,500 square feet. Each office is 500 square feet. And after that, I went to church, I went to Sunday school, and the ladies were saying, well, you should have gotten Peg Leg Plumbing. He is good. So on Monday morning, I called Peg Leg, and I asked him if he could possibly come. I tell him my situation. Oh, I didn't tell you that I went up there kind of agitated, and they really never did help me when I kept going back up there. And I asked the lady, I said, I want to speak to your supervisor. And the supervisor was Desiree Henderson. And I said, I don't know what to do. This water bill just keeps going up. And she said, well, I'll give your name and number to Jared, I think his name was. Somebody was the field man. And I said, would you give me his number? No, I won't give you his number. Anyway, I go home. I'm very agitated. I work in the yard. I have my phone with me the whole time. At lunch, it was after lunch, and I still haven't heard from anybody. So I called the water company back, and they said, oh, he called, you didn't answer. I said, I had my phone with me all the time. And then I said, what number did you give him? They gave him the wrong number. Anyway, then Bill Morrow, who rents from one of the offices, called me and said that a Robert had left a little card, and he went around, he said for me to call him, so I called him, and he said, you do not have any leaks on the outside of the building, it must be the toilets. I said, it couldn't be the toilets, I've already had them fixed. He said, it's the toilets. I said, it couldn't be, but anyway, I get Peg Leg Plumbing to come. He comes, he looks at the water meter, he has two other men with him. He rebuilds the middle toilet, the others, he went through all of them. He said, you do not have a leak. Everything's fine. So I have paid $313.42 to get the leaks fixed. And I have a bill of $887.59. I've already paid over $600 for the last 2 months, and I'm asking that I get a little relief here. I don't mind paying what I should, but I think $887 is ridiculous. Help.
This is your contact number, Ms. Bell?
Yes.
We'll have someone contact you.
But, Ms. Bell, you came by and saw me.
Yes, I did.
Did anybody from the water utility contact you? Have they contacted you?
No, no one's contacted me.
All right. Your last bill,
I've been 4 times.
your last bill was 800 and something?
$887.59. I've got proof of all the bills that I have, what I've paid of the plumbers, the invoices, the Harbor Freight. I paid for I have all the bills, the invoices, right here. Proof.
That 800 something dollars, that's due this month, right?
It's due on the 15th.
Okay.
Ms. Powell, what was the address again?
Well, it's a building, and the address is 37, 16, 18, and 20 Jefferson.
3716?
16, 18, and 20.
Is it 3 separate bills or just?
No, it's one building, 3 little offices.
And one
3
bill?
small toilets and 3 small laboratories.
Okay, and it's on one bill?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's always been $85.
And you only have one tenant currently?
Well, we have one that's there all the time, Bill Morrow. And the middle office, they read x-rays. They have to have a site, and so they pay rent on that. Then there is a Terry Whitt who does taxes, but she's not there very often.
And
So
there's
the-
no chance that your tenants are using a lot of water?
No,
Were you able to confirm no water was being stolen from the back?
no, I didn't know. I was just
Sure.
grabbing at straws. I don't know. They never helped me. And so I started talking to people, and that's the reason I called Danny Jewell, because he's our representative for the area that I live in. I live at 3503 Evergreen. And I'm having to do things that I never had to do before because my husband's had some little mini strokes. And I know one thing, we don't owe $887.59. I've already paid $600 and then $300 for plumbers, 2 different plumbers.
I believe the water utilities is to be looking at this. Is that not right, Tyler? That's one of those I contacted you about?
Yes, sir. I was looking at my emails now, but I'll get with Gary first thing in the morning.
I'm just
Thank you.
trying to get help. Thank you.
David?
Ms. Bill, it's good to see you again. Just real quick, I've already ordered at an Italian restaurant just down the street, so I'm waiting on my food to get there, and I'm going to rush back out, so you don't worry, everything's
You get
fine.
us anything, or?
Well, yes, anyway. While I appreciate y'all looking at the overnight stay thing and having the workshop coming up, and I appreciate all that. We're going to get this right, and everybody hopefully will have a middle ground there. Director Harris is concerned about the houses being torn down and that type of thing. If we could occupy them with tenants from out of state or whatever, that might be a good thing to use these houses for, the ones that can be made into something. But what I really failed to say last week was, there's a Hispanic restaurant across the street that I go to on occasion, and we have some friends over there, and their daughter was flooded in that flood over there, that Sterling Crest, and that was the cheapest they could afford, so they went in a cheap place, and then it flooded, and they lost everything. They had nothing besides what was there. So then they moved in with the parents, and so what I want to say there is, if you would just consider, as your new budget comes up for next year, if you could somehow squeeze in, I know there's a lot of potholes, and you hear a lot of potholes, but if you could squeeze in a study of what it would take in retaining ponds, at least a study, so that you would know it's impossible, or it is possible, to slow that water down before it comes down and even flood your own recreation center down there. I would like for y'all to at least consider that in your budget for next year. I know to go over there and start digging holes and retaining water without a study, I think that would be a great thing for us to do. Also, on another subject, the trains that come through and blow the horns, I know my Director Harris has brought that up several times. The railroad always comes in and says, it's going to be scary, but there's ways of doing that. Houston, major cities do not have train horns all over their city because they create passing through that with gates and things like that, and it does cost $100,000-$200,000 per drive when you drive over those things, and it's very expensive. But if we don't ever start, we will never finish. So that would be something that we could possibly look into, squeezing a little bit into the budget, and that way we could do one, and then next year we could do another, and same way with the retaining ponds, just starting somewhere so we could go forward. I'm going to go down the street. Any questions or thoughts?
I'd be in touch.
Oh, I do have one other thing I need a subject. There's something, y'all going to say something about a lady back here. I'm not going to take any of that away from you, but she has a wonderful heart. She has a wonderful smile. She loves art, and she loves Texarkana. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address the board? Citizens communication time. Anyone else? If not, we'll move into our presentation section. So we have some employee service awards, and I have 4 proclamations to present tonight. At this time, we'll recognize our employee service awards that our city manager will give out. I think we had a couple of firemen that were here and got called out on their truck, but I'll just call everybody's name, and if you're here, if you would come forward. We have Angel Hershey with the Public Works Department for 5 years. We have Lysandra Tyson with the Police Department for 5 years. Chad Honey with the Fire Department, 25 years. Christopher Bolden with the Fire Department for 25 years. And Ian, I believe it's Alquist, with the Fire Department for 25 years. So at this time, we have some proclamations that I will read and present. The first proclamation will be declaring May 5th, 2025 as Darlene Taylor Day. Darlene, would you come forward? I'll read the proclamation and I'll come down and present it to you. Whereas neither Darlene Taylor nor anyone in our area knew what a blessing it would be for both when she left her roots in Dallas-Fort Worth area for a move to Texarkana in 2009. And whereas after her move, Darlene met in the love of her life, Andy Taylor, and they started her own business, Double Tailor Made Productions. Texarkana and the surrounding areas have benefited from her infectious spirit, love of art, and steadfast commitment to using her talents to give back to the community. And whereas Darlene's artwork began early when she drew comics of herself as a middle schooler and evolved into designing and sewing elaborate historical costumes and paintings of all kinds, and whereas Darlene worked in a fast food and deli and home improvement store and a TV station until 2019, when she was spotted by Her magazine, writer painting a mural on her own fence and became the subject of an article. The article led her to her first mural project at the Hideout in El Frios, and then on the almost nonstop mural painting. And whereas her business cards read, "Have a brush, we'll travel," obviously true since her murals are now located in many places throughout the Arklatex besides Texarkana, included among others DeQueen, Horatio, Camden, Hope, Glenwood, Idabel, and Atlanta. And whereas one of Darlene's latest masterpieces is located on the side of Lula Rose, located near the intersection of Hazel Street and State Line Avenue in Texarkana, Arkansas, as she dedicated to the city of Texarkana, Arkansas. And whereas Darlene has left her mark around our entire area to the point that anyone driving around the Twin Cities and beyond can look at her artwork on the side of a building and say, "Darlene was here." Now therefore, I, Alan L. Brown, Mayor of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, do hereby proclaim today, May 5th, 2025, as Darlene Taylor Day. In the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, I encourage our citizens to join me and recognize the contributions of Darlene Taylor's artistic talents in our community.
Let's look this way first. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
Our next proclamation is City Clerks Week. May 4th through the 10th of 2025. Whereas the office of city clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the city clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the city clerk provides a professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas the city clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and whereas the city clerks serve as information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas the city clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the city clerk's department through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their state, province, county, and international professional organizations, and where it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of our city clerk and our deputy city clerk, now therefore be it resolved that I, Alan L. Brown, Mayor of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, do recognize the week of May 4th through the 10th, 2025 as City Clerks Week in the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, and urge our citizens to join in the appreciation of our City Clerk Department for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. It's signed by myself and our City Clerk, Heather Sawyer, and I'll present this to her at that time. Winded tonight. Y'all give me all those difficult words too that I can't say. Is Darlene still here? You know, one of the toughest words I've ever had trouble with is mural. It's so hard for me to say, but you do paint some beautiful ones. Next is the Drinking Water Week, May 4th through the 10th of 2025. Whereas water is the most valuable natural resource, and whereas drinking water serves as a vital role in daily life, serving an essential purpose to health, hydration, and hygiene needs for the quality of life of our citizens to enjoy, and whereas tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, support of our economy, and the quality of life we enjoy, and whereas the hard work performed by the entire water sector, designing capital projects, operators ensuring the safety and quality of the drinking water, or a member of the pipe crew maintaining the infrastructure communities rely on to transport high-quality drinking water from its sources to consumers' taps, and whereas we're all stewards of the water infrastructure upon which the current and future generations depend, and whereas the citizens of our city are called upon to help protect our source waters from pollution, practice water conservation, and get involved with their water by familiarizing themselves with it. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Alan L. Brown, Mayor of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, do recognize the week of May 4th through the 10th, 2025 as Drinking Water Week in the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, and urge our citizens to join with me. I think I'll present this to Gary at this time. Gary Smith. And the last is, today is the Mental Health Awareness Month of May 2025. Whereas the theme for Mental Health Awareness Month 2025 is Turn Awareness into Action. Whereas this theme emphasizes the need to go beyond simply recognizing the importance of mental health and actively taking steps to help maintain mental well-being. And whereas the key objectives for Mental Health Awareness Month include educating the public about mental health conditions and their impact, reducing the stigma with encouraging open conversations and fostering acceptance, promoting early intervention and an important step to improve awareness, activities and sharing available mental health resources, including support groups and services for improved mental health policies, increased funding, and better access to care. And whereas understanding the need for greater collaboration on mental health needs with law enforcement and the community, now therefore be it resolved that I, Alan L. Brown, Mayor of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2025 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, and I encourage all of our citizens, businesses, organizations, and agencies to work collaboratively to reduce the stigma of mental illness and increase the mental health of our community. It's signed by myself, Alan Brown, and our city clerk, Heather Sawyers. Is someone here to receive that? Do we know? You?
Yeah, but I say this, this is because of NLC asked me, which stands for the National League of City, and this may be shown nationally on their website. So, but I do want Eric, if he doesn't mind, to go down there and get a picture. So,
Let me turn your camera toward you.
no.
One, two, three. All right.
At this time, we'll move into our consent agenda. At this time, I would like to remove item number 8 from the consent agenda. That will leave us with items number 6, 7 on the consent agenda. Item number 6 is approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of April 21st and the special call meeting on April 28th. Item number 7 is to adopt a resolution authorizing the replacement of the Wright-Patman Water Treatment Plant low-service pump. What would be the desire of the board on items 6 and 7?
Move for adoption.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And 6 and 7 passes. So I don't know if I need to address these. I have a few questions about the lease agreement with our warning siren system. I don't know if I guess I could address them to Chief Fletcher or to Tyler. So if my memory serves me right, when I went back and looked as well, back in 2022, we approved around $140,000 to repair and fix what I was understood at that time when I supported it was the sirens. And we had this company that I don't think technically got started working until sometime in 2023. And I'm assuming they're not working. So I was just curious as to what happened to that situation compared to the big situation we're in now to sign this lease agreement.
Well, the time that we started, that company was American Signal. They've proven to be, over the years, a company that you would never want to be involved with. I will give them the credit that it was during COVID when we kind of first started talking to them about it. And then about right after that, a lot of federal money hit everywhere, and they had like 100 jobs. But they accomplished what they were supposed to do, but they never really, should we say, they replaced a couple of sirens, got the part at dispatch working correctly. But as far as repairs on everything, that was never done.
And I'm assuming that they were paid in full.
Yes. Now, they didn't necessarily have those repairs on that contract, but I was kind of going by what they were telling me needed to be done. You know, I don't know what's wrong with the sirens and that, so a lot of things that needed to be done were left out of that.
So Tyler, has there been any, or Chief, is there any subrogation? Have we done anything to try to make these people complete the job or collect our money that we lost? Or
At this point, I wouldn't want them anywhere near the sirens if we did anything. One thing about the control equipment at dispatch, that was a split deal with us in Texas. So that makes it a little more
Difficult.
a little more complicated. Yeah, 'cause we share a same common control point. And,
But we can look into it. I would assume that we can look into it, could we not, Tyler, to see what portion of this that, I mean, none of it's working, is it? I mean, they didn't go off and they're not working now,
oh no,
so.
we have the majority, we have 14 sirens in the city right now, and we have 4 of them that's not working.
4 of them.
Do you know which 4 of those are, Chief?
That
I
would
know
be-
where one of them is for
That
sure.
would be Union Road, Cooper Tire, East 35th and Garland. And,
Is it the Bramble Park one?
no, it just needs some repair on the electrical there, so I
Yeah,
think we
okay.
just have 3 that's not working. Joey Lane? Joey. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. That was the 4th one, Joey Lane.
I would hope that we would at least just pursue something on trying to recover some of our money or something, leaving us
I can
high
get
and
all,
dry.
that's, like I said, that's been spread out over several years, but I can get all the information together and get with
Okay.
Tyler on it.
I've just sent it to Josh, and he's going to put a demand letter together and see what we can recoup.
And my assumption when I read through what that is, that this is a 5-year lease agreement, and this will not kick in until 2026, and that this would be something we would have to work into our budget in 2026 at somewhere around 60 grand a year? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And leasing these, I mean, I like the concept of leasing these because they come with the maintenance and upkeep and the testing and all that as well.
It is a 5-year service agreement.
Okay.
So I would like to know, one advantage that we're going to have here is, well, the first thing I'd like to say is I finally found a company that I really trust in doing this work and really knows what they're talking about. And everything they have went over is, actually, also want to point out, the Texas side is spending near $600,000 with the same company on their sirens. We had worked this out last fall, but of course, budget things, you got priorities.
Right,
Things come
understand.
up. I found out with the sirens, they're expensive to maintain, hard to find people to work on them, but there is a lot of people who depend on them, have a lot of faith in them, and if we're going to have them, they all need to work.
I agree. Anybody have any other questions? Yes, Director.
Go ahead. I had, I guess about 2 weeks ago, I had sent Tyler a picture of the one over there in Bramble Park, that it had a tie strap holding the meter box. That's what you're referring to. And then also, on an off box, like me, you would need a lock or something on there, because anybody can just go up there and just turn it off. And why the meter box, the electrical box that's coming up through the ground doesn't have a lock on it in the own position.
Gotcha. That could definitely be done, locking the one you're talking about over there, it's actually included in this work
Okay.
to get that rebuilt, that
Okay.
electrical service. Those sirens, believe it or not, they actually run on batteries.
Okay.
All the electric service does is charge the batteries.
Okay.
The majority of the 3 replacement sirens we're getting right now are all going to be solar chargers.
Okay.
So, yeah, moving forward.
Anybody have anything else for Chief Fletcher?
The expense indicated here, is that strictly for the lease of the equipment, or does it include the service agreement that you're talking about to
It
keep them
includes
serviced?
5-year service agreement.
It does include the 5-year
Yes, sir.
service.
I think near the end of that, it says Siren Guard Pro, and that is where it has the annual maintenance on everything for 5 years. You see that part?
I'm getting there. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Will we still be testing these weather permitting on Wednesdays?
We may adjust that schedule. If we get I've checked with some other cities, and kind of a standard is almost once a month.
Okay.
you know, which is, now the good thing about when this system is up and running, I'll actually get feedback on whether they're working or not. Won't have to have somebody there looking, it'll tell me if we got a problem.
Thank you, Chief.
And they also, you know, we depend on Bi-State to set off the sirens when they need to be done. But we'll also, Chief Black on the Texas side and myself will have access cellular, able to set them off. Just another option.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If no other questions, I'd instruct the city attorney to read the resolution.
Whereas the city's warning siren system is in need of repair and updating, and whereas the fire chief, David Fletcher, requests that the city enter into a lease agreement with NCL Government Capital in order to fund a complete siren system upgrade from Federal Signal that will include 3 new sirens, various existing site repairs, and a 5-year service agreement. And the total expense required is $283,899.95, payable over 5 years with an annual payment of $69,182.97. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, that the city manager is authorized to enter into a lease agreement with NCL Government Capital for the purposes and in the amount set forth above, passed and approved this 5th day of May, 2025.
City attorney's read the resolution. What would be the desire of the board?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Let's have a motion and a second to adopt. Any other discussion? Could you call the roll?
Director Jewell,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Assistant Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Director Hollobush,
Yes.
Director Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes, the resolution passes. Moving right along to our regular agenda, we have 3 items on our regular agenda tonight. Our first item is item number 9, to adopt an ordinance to enter into an agreement with the Arkansas Energy Office for a loan in the amount of $1,665,425 for the solar vehicle parking. Paul, and the ordinance has also requested an emergency clause.
Good evening. So it's been a long time to get where we're at. Our attorneys had to work with the state attorneys to work out all the legal nuances of the city to the airport authority, but they finally have worked out an agreement. So this evening, what you would be approving is allowing Tyler to essentially draw down the funds so we can pay the contractors and work on closing out the project. The emergency clause was to allow the timing, so that way the city can start working with us to get the federal credits within this fiscal year.
So, just a couple of questions, and I will open my remarks by saying I have no plans of ever being Josh Potter, so I'm not an attorney, and don't want to be. But I just want to go over a couple of things because, you know, I've looked at this, I've discussed this several times. We're very fortunate, in my opinion, to get the 0.4% after all these months anyway, but that's certainly a plus. But I just wanted to make sure in a couple of these things in here, and I think that it's kind of contradictory, and I wanted to make sure that you're aware of them and that you maybe understand the same thing that I do as far as the repayment of that loan. But the first is that assignment and assumption of the investment grade audit. We've already approved that, and that's been done. One of the conditions were on the getting this loan was we had to have that audit done, and we've already completed that, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So when we get down here to section 1 and we talk about the obligations and how they're to be paid back, it says that the obligations not and shall not be general obligations of the city, but shall be special obligations payable solely from the revenues in the form of savings received by the city pursuant to the energy contract. So back in those original documents, if I remember right, there's some type of determination as to whether what money we're saving, and that's the money we're actually supposed to use to repay the loan. But then it goes on and says, notwithstanding the foregoing, and the city is authorized but not required to make payments under the loan agreement from any lawful revenues of the city. So we've really got to pay it back regardless. So why do we keep putting this stuff in here about the revenue savings from the solar? I mean, I'm not.
So the revenue savings from the solar was language that the state requires that they show that this project saves, revenue from the utility costs for the terminal. We thought it would be very straightforward. We were asked what seemed like a very simple question of, was the city going to be directly paying this, or was the airport going to be making direct payments? We had said the airport is going to make the direct payments, so that way we wouldn't have to go through a hand-through with the city. And that then became, they all had to go, and go back and do more of their legalese. The intention is that we will get invoiced as the airport, and we will directly pay this out of our O&M fund. So that way, it's not being directly paid by the city for this.
And it says in here, as the contractor will reimburse the borrower for any shortfall of guaranteed energy cost savings over the term of the energy contract. And there, I remember something in those documents about there's a formula on, they come out and test what energy we're saving or whatever, and do you ever see us being in a position, I mean, I don't, I think it's advantageous for them, the way they test it, but do you ever see us in a position where they would have to reimburse us?
I do not.
I don't know.
I believe they build in some cushion for themselves to make sure that won't happen.
I wouldn't know why we put that in there, because I would never see it happen, but, the sole purpose for us, naturally, in my opinion, too, is to save the energy costs, naturally. But provided covers for a covered parking lot at the airport, but it will save that. And then, once you execute this loan, then the big elephant was the down payment, the $700,000 that I guess we will access the line of credit to pay them in full with that, and you've not done that yet.
We have made the request to the cities to have the permission to pay that on our line of credit. Our line of credit, we're moving forward, is going to work a little bit differently. Anytime we make any payment on our line of credit, we will request to both city managers and both financial directors.
You mean a payment or an extension?
No, anytime we make any payment on our line of credit, we will actually make sure that they're briefed so that they can assure that these are projects and things that have always gotten approval from the two cities. So we've done that for the first one. We should be sending in that payment. I'll have to check with Shannon if it's already been mailed or not, but we'd already gone through that initial thing to do our drawdown, and so we're just waiting at this point for the loan payment.
And we built the interest of this loan and the interest on the line of credit in that, but we're actually behind, so we should be. Didn't you build interest for this loan in the entire 25 budget?
We did, and we haven't, so at this point, we haven't been able to have it on this entire time.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Paul?
Well, I have a question in regards to savings. Through your financial analysis in regards to savings, discrete or continuous accounting, do you have a number of what those savings, a projection of what those savings would be?
So they projected in there that it was approximately 100,000. I believe it was.
It's about half the bill.
Yeah.
Isn't it about half the bill?
Yeah, it's about half the bill. At this point, because the contractor has not received their payments, they have not turned it on yet. And so as of this year, we have not received any savings until it actually gets
So
activated.
real time, you just haven't seen it
That's correct.
You got to get them turned.
Yeah, we've seen the number here. I just want to know some real time number.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why on the backside, they have to come out and do testing to show that they are actually meeting those numbers that they said that we were expected to get in those savings.
Right. Thank
They
you.
will. Any other questions?
Yeah, that savings was on a projection of a parking rate of $10 uncovered, 13 covered, was it not?
So when that was something that was brought to the board, the board at the time chose to do a $12 for the cover. Your concern has been brought up to the board, and as we're going through the process of every single year, we look at our rates and fees. I've already explained to Tyler that the cities will be a part of that process with our budget, and we'll have the board relook at that cost.
But the savings of this has nothing to do with the parking cost. The savings is in the electricity of running the terminal.
Yeah.
Is the solar, but the
Understand.
revenue, the budget of the revenue of the airport.
Well, I understand that, but like you, I agree with you, that's in my view, kind of a gimmick. But I'm using this as just a lead into asking, why, I don't think the airport board is taking seriously the need to increase the revenues generated by the airport. And to me, this is a prime avenue to generate more revenues, to increase the charges for the parking to the rates that was used in this survey analysis or whatever. So I would ask that, I've suggested this through the months
Yes, sir.
of these rates to be increased, but it's always been, we're going to study it at some point, but it's never gotten anywhere. It's still $10.12?
Yes, sir. This month, we are going to be having another meeting with the planning committee. The two city managers and two finance directors are a part of that. I will invite you to that. I will certainly mention it at that because we're going over budget,
That'd be great.
but I will invite you there
Yeah.
to make sure that you can voice your concerns directly.
No, I got one thing on the payment schedule, and maybe this is more for Tyler or something, but the loan payment amount, those dates, we got, I guess, 15 years to pay this?
Yes, sir.
And those are left dates. Is it going to be invoiced yearly from the city to you? Is that how we're paying this, or?
I believe it's monthly.
The schedule shows that it's annual.
And there's no amount in there? What, is
Exhibit
that,
B.
is that yet to be determined or something?
I'd have to look some more.
It's $150,000
Yeah, it's,
annually.
I don't think either way, whether it's monthly or annual, it'd be a problem. But
It's in the original contract, but all that has to be reworked. There was an amortization attached to it. It's $151,000 a year.
At the 0.4%?
Yes.
Okay.
Just to be clear with that, it does say about, it's under the agreement or specified payment schedule. So whatever the agreement is.
Any other questions? If not, I'll have the city attorney read the ordinance in its title form for its first reading.
An ordinance providing for the execution and delivery of an equipment loan agreement between the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, the Arkansas Energy Office, and the Arkansas Development Finance Authority, providing for the payment of loan payments pursuant to such agreement, ratifying the execution and delivery of an energy contract, prescribing other matters relating thereto, and declaring an emergency.
Ordinance has been read on its first reading. What would be the desire to have it read at second reading tonight?
Second reading, abbreviated form, please.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to have it read in abbreviated form and its second reading. Any other discussion? Would you call the roll?
Director Jewell,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Assistant Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Director Hollibush,
Yes.
Director Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Brown,
Yes.
An ordinance providing for the execution and delivery of an equipment loan agreement between the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, the Arkansas Energy Office, and the Arkansas Development Finance Authority, providing for the payment of loan payments pursuant to such agreement, ratifying the execution and delivery of an energy contract, prescribing other matters relating thereto, and declaring an emergency.
Ordinance has been read on its second reading. Desire to have it read on its third and final reading.
Third reading, abbreviated form.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for third reading. Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Director Jewell,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Assistant Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Director Hollibush,
Yes.
Director Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
An ordinance providing for the execution and delivery of an equipment loan agreement between the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, the Arkansas Energy Office, and the Arkansas Development Finance Authority, providing for the payment of loan payments pursuant to such agreement, ratifying the execution and delivery of an energy contract, prescribing other matters relating thereto, and declaring an emergency.
Ordinance has been read on its third and final reading. What would be the desire to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Prior to the board voting to adopt this particular ordinance, is there anyone here wishing to speak for or against? Hearing and seeing none, could you call the roll?
Director Jewell,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Assistant Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Director Hollibush,
Yes.
Director Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes, and the ordinance is adopted. Airport has asked for an emergency clause. What would be the desire of the board to attach an emergency clause?
Motion to attach emergency clause.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Could you call the roll?
Director Jewell,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Assistant Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Director Hollibush,
Yes.
Director Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes, an emergency clause is attached. Moving into item number 10, to adopt an ordinance to amend ordinance number 34, 2024, in order to increase the notification area for a special use permit from 100 feet to 300 feet. Jamie?
So if you remember, when we created the ordinance for special use permits, we had set the notification area to 100 feet. And the notification area for rezonings was 300 feet, and for conditional use permits, we had been using 300 feet. So the board asked that we increase it to 300 feet to make them all uniform. So that's all we're doing with this one.
Any questions for Jamie? I'll remind the board, this is an ordinance. To pass, it would need to be read 3 times tonight. I'll instruct the city attorney to read the ordinance in its title form or its first reading.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 34, 2024, the City of Texarkana, Arkansas Code of Ordinances to increase the notification area for special use permits from 100 feet to 300 feet and for other purposes.
Ordinance has been read on its first reading. Desire for its second reading tonight.
Second reading.
We have a motion and a second for second reading. Any other discussion? Would you call the roll?
Director Jewell,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Assistant Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Director Hollibush,
Yes.
Director Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 34, 2024 of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas Code of Ordinances to increase the notification area for special use permits from 100 feet to 300 feet and for other purposes.
Ordinance has been read on its second reading. Desire to have it read on its third and final reading.
Third reading, abbreviated form.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to have it read on its third and final reading. Any other discussion? Would you call the roll?
Director Jewell,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Assistant Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Director Hollibush,
Yes.
Director Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 34, 2024 of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas Code of Ordinances to increase the notification area for special use permits from 100 feet to 300 feet and for other purposes.
Ordinance has been read on its third and final reading. Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Prior to the board voting to adopt this particular ordinance, is there anyone here wishing to speak for or against? Seeing and hearing none, could you call the roll?
Director Jewell,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Assistant Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Director Hollibush,
Yes.
Director Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes, the ordinance is adopted. Moving into our last item on the agenda is to adopt an ordinance. Number 11 is to adopt an ordinance to amend ordinance number K-286 in order to establish a notification area of 300 feet for conditional use permits. James?
So we have, for at least 5 years since I've been here, always notified any property owners within 300 feet of a request for a conditional use permit. In the process of establishing special use permits, we realized that this was not actually in our ordinance. It was just something that
We did for courtesy.
we did for courtesy. So in order to be uniform with special use permits and conditional use permits, we are creating an ordinance that requires this notification.
Any other questions?
Sounds
If
good.
not, this is an ordinance. I would instruct the city attorney to read the ordinance in its title form.
An ordinance amending ordinance number K-286 of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas Code of Ordinances to increase the notification area for conditional use permits from 100 feet to 300 feet and for other purposes.
Ordinance has been read on its first reading. would be the desire to have it read on its second reading tonight?
Second reading.
So we
Second.
have a motion and a second for second reading. Any other discussion? Would you call the roll?
Director Jewell,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Assistant Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Director Hollebush,
Yes.
Director Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
An ordinance amending ordinance number K-286 of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas Code of Ordinances to increase the notification area for conditional use permits from 100 feet to 300 feet and for other purposes.
Ordinance has been read on its second reading. What would be desired to have it read on its third and final?
Third and final reading. Abbreviated for it, please.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for third reading. Any other discussion? Would you call the roll?
Director Jewell,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Assistant Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Director Hollebush,
Yes.
Director Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
An ordinance amending ordinance number K-286 of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas Code of Ordinances to increase the notification area for conditional use permits from 100 feet to 300 feet and for other purposes.
Ordinance has been read on its third and final reading. What would be the desire to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
So have a motion and a second to adopt. Prior to the board voting to adopt this particular ordinance, is there anyone here wishing to speak for or against? Seeing and hearing none, could you call the roll?
Director Jewell,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Assistant Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Director Hollebush,
Yes.
Director Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes, and the ordinance is adopted. Moving into Board of Directors commentary, is there any board member that wishes to address the board of citizens tonight?
I have a brief comment. I would like to let the citizens know that still seeing the limbs that's piled up, that the contractors are still out there recovering those limbs. So we ask that your patience, because they are still on the clock, picking those limbs up. And so please just be patient with us. Thank you.
Mayor, I got one thing, and I want to address this to Gary. I got, in addition to getting the complaint from the lady that spoke tonight, I got a complaint from an individual about the new meters, the ones that, whatever they're called, y'all made it. He said he can't go out there and look at any numbers on it. So now I'm speaking kind of as a director, but also mostly as an individual citizen. What is he saying? That the new meters, once they're installed, where Danny Jewell is not going to be able to go to the meter box and see anything turning. Is that right?
The point behind them is to log in, correct?
Sir.
Or don't you log in?
Yeah, you can go to your portal. There's going to be a customer portal. It's not set up yet. When everything's in, it'll be set up. You can go in there every hour and read your read.
But
And-
that's on a computer or
Yes,
something,
yeah,
right?
you cannot go, the actual ordinance doesn't allow anybody to get in that meter box anyway, and we especially don't want them to now because of all the wirings and everything. This is very expensive, and you won't believe how many people go in there and damage, and then we bill them for what they break. But
Oh,
no,
you
sir.
mean I've been violating the law when I go in there and watch
So is there
this
an
go around?
app, is there an app for that, Gary, on your phone, or you just have to go into the website and set up an account?
I don't know, Mayor. I'll check on that. I know you can go to the program, but I don't know if there's one on your phone or not.
Okay.
I'll check on it. and let you know.
Director Harris?
How will you turn the water off if you was doing some repair in the house?
Well, you should have a customer shut-off valve, but the older ones don't, then they just call us and we come shut it off for you.
Well, I want to go back to, so I've been violating the law when I go out there, when I had an issue.
Well, not
That's
law,
the
it's an
first-
ordinance that the city passed a long time ago, but yes, sir.
So I've been guilty of violating the law when I went out there and watched this, trying to diagnose my problem, right? So that's what I was saying. I'm not going to be able to violate the law anymore because there's not going to be any numbers there, right? From the
Right.
gauges me to go around.
Right, yeah.
Well, I don't want that. Undo that.
Yeah.
But hey, now there's an officer back there, you better
Yeah.
be careful.
Anybody else, any questions for Gary, or?
And that's a confession.
All right, thank you, Gary.
Yes, sir. Well, I just say too, when this portal set up, it's got leak detection in there. You can set parameters on it that if it goes over 100 gallons a day, hey, there's something wrong. You can set it, it's going to be very user-friendly.
Alerts.
Yeah, but that says computer. That's, for me, that's not user-friendly.
No, sir. I understand, but you should have a shut-off valve at your place where you can shut it off if you have to do any work on it. Yes, sir.
Director Harris?
Yes, I was gonna ask, I guess Tyler, as to how long sure the potholes, go along before they get filled. That I think I contacted you last year about that over there on Linden Street, Senator Street, and Fifth Street. And even though you said that you told them to fill it, it still not been filled. Then my next question is, how can a person like me go around and get some cones and go around and put them in different spots around in the neighborhood? Because the holes have got so big. I know I'm getting a lot of people calling me up and asking me, they see me out there saying they damaged their car, and how can they get their car lined, and do the city got any money for that? But I told them that maybe it's not being done intentionally. And the reason why I'm saying that is the city may be trying to make the public go and pass a bond issue. You know, because if they see a desire saying that the roads need to be fixed, what they just need to be fixed. But whatever's going on now with the roads and the potholes, this is the worst I ever seen. I know we'd have paid in the past, $250,000, $200,000 to this group twice, and Public Works is working, 10 hours a day. So I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with this is in a way. And then do we need another truck that put the stuff in? I know we could have bought one by now, by in this other company, $200,000. Or are you gonna say that they just can't get the asphalt or what? But still, there's no reason why those over there, and I know you, when I talked to you, email, you said those is different, they the same thing, they just got bigger. Those, no, they's not the same, especially in front of that lady house over there on the corner of Linden Street. She the one that got some cones and put there in front of her house there. And everybody been asking me, could they get some cones and put in the street because there. And then I know I met with you and Roger Douglas on Pearl Street. That street over there, I don't know about the 18th, that was last year. That still ain't been fixed over there, Pearl Street, and also Orleans Street, if I'm not mistaken. Then I also met y'all last year about Allen Street, about the water still, when it rains, it's flooding to the house. You still ain't cut that sidewalk out for that. Now, I met with them last year about this. And then the man over there on Fairview Street still called me about the pipe supposed to be replaced. That me, you, and Douglas met this guy over there on Fairview Street last year, right in June. Nothing had happened. So, and then if we do go get a bond issue, try to get a bond issue, I would think the first way to do is, you talking about $20 million, how you gonna split that money up? I would think if you gonna decide to do that, I think $3.3 million need to go to each ward, instead of you using that, that so-called, list that you asking the people to drive around. Cause I always say, anytime you do a study, from my history being up here, it ain't fair for the poor. It never has been fair for the poor neighborhood. So, and right now, I haven't saw that, and I still don't see it. That the citizen right now doing the study, and he planning on using that study if he asks the public to prove a bond issue. And me, I think that the best way to solve that issue is you just give $3.3 million to each ward, then let the ward meet with the community. And I'm trying to see that would be the fair way to do it instead of using that list, because that's the best way to do it. Try to be fair when you get money like that. I know what happened the last time. I know none of y'all wasn't up here, but last time in 2012, 2013, the city got $20 million. They went out there, said they were gonna do roads, even though I think Ward 2 only got 2 roads, Allen Street and Ferguson Street, but they went and spent $10 million out there. I think it's called Crossroad. They did a double-sided concrete road. That was back in 2013, 2015, and nobody ain't came over there yet. You build a double concrete road, 4-lane concrete road, coming from, I think it's McDonald Lane, going all the way to 71. And then it was based on the $20 million that the city had asked the public to do, to have the street done. Now, if they would have knew that you were gonna spend $20 million from going out there doing that road out there at McDonald. I don't know what the road called. I think it's McDonald Lane. I don't know for sure, but I know they used part of that bond money to do a $10 million road, concrete road going out that way. But either that or you decide what road gonna get done prior to you asking the people in the city to pass a bond issue. But I think the first way to do is to get each ward, there's 6 wards, and if you're asking for $20 million, you divide that up to 6 wards, then each ward member can go and meet with their constituent and figure out how they gonna spend that $3.3 million, if it come to that. And based from what you're doing now, lack of doing, you kind of setting up the city, what you gonna have no choice but to do that, because pothole is getting less and less done. And like I said, if I still got potholes in Ward 2 that were requested, and you're aware of this since last year, June of last year, they ain't been done, I still don't see the rationality behind it. When you got the employee working 10 hours a day, maybe you got too many employees together. Maybe you should split up the truck. I even said this to you before. Maybe you should have 2 employees to a truck instead of having 4 employees to a truck trying to go around fixing potholes. Maybe you split it up and maybe you can get more work out of them than doing that. I know, and I guess I have some more issues, but that's all. I'm just gonna decide to stick with potholes today, because if you go to your Facebook page, that's all you're gonna see. The city of Texarkana, Arkansas, got the worst street in town. But you go on the Texas side, I think down Kennedy Lane, they putting sidewalks in. I think they doing on Summer Hill Road, or they did Summer Hill Road. They got lots of structure around there, and I don't know how it's been paid for, but you go to Texas side, the infrastructure is working real good. I'm seeing development coming over there, night and day. Arkansas side, what are we doing? I don't see the development coming up on Arkansas side like we always been compared to Texas, but we don't have the same money as Texas got. I understand that, but we trying to keep up with Texas with the same salaries, but we don't have the same money. To me, I feel like we getting just like Rome. Rome had, the infrastructure failed, but they had the strongest government, but the infrastructure fell down because you wasn't putting no money in the infrastructure. You mostly putting it towards salary. Maybe that could be it, but something need to be done by our streets. I agree with that, but how are you gonna do it? Pothole is a big issue, and we ain't saying just going up there and just throwing stuff in there and then running. Cut out section. I've been asking about some cutout on Pinehurst and Grove Street. That going on a year or two. It's still people asking me for cones to put in the street. They got to go like a jigsaw to get down to the other side of the street, because they just can't do a straight shot. So what is you gonna do to fix that issue, and how you gonna go about fixing that issue? And thank you.
All right. Any other board member?
I do have one.
Okay.
And I'm glad you brought that up. Have you noted there is either a tree or a bush growing in the street over on Euclid? Have you seen that?
No.
It's, and I thought that it would come down when they were repaving Euclid, but it's right at the corner. I don't know if it looks like was growing out of the drain. It started out pretty small, but it comes up to about my chest now.
It's within the new section?
Yeah, it's either on the corner of Roberts or Prospect, but you can't miss it. I mean, it's a tree.
Anything else?
Tyler, just one small note. Will you write down 22nd and County, there's a tree that's kind of growing out there in the road as well.
This was growing in the road.
Yes, same here.
Did they just pay that?
Yeah.
Tyler, do you have anything to add to the city manager report?
I was just going to let y'all know that we have reached out to the pothole contractor that we've had come to town the last couple of years. I'll find out tomorrow how quickly they can get here, but we've patched more potholes this year than we ever have in any prior year. but we still have a lot more to do. And they're going to come to town and help us get caught up. I'll find out tomorrow when they can get here, but they are.
Director Harris? Yes.
And how much that gonna cost for them coming?
For right now, it's going to be 30,000. But that's not going to address the entire city. But we want to see what they get accomplished with that 30,000. Depending on what they get accomplished, we'll decide whether to do another 5 truckloads or not. It's about $6,000 per truckload. So we're going to start with 5 truckloads, evaluate how much they get done. If we find that it's been beneficial, then we can continue from there.
How many employees you got doing that? Pothole?
Patching
Yes.
potholes,
Mhm.
right now, we've got about 4 of them doing it.
Right,
But we can't split, we can run 2 different crews, but we don't have enough equipment to split them up and run, say, 3 or 4 2-man crews. We don't have the equipment. I mean, we only have the 1 patch trailer, so we have to split out what we can handle. If we're running 2 patching crews, then one of them's got to carry asphalt on an open trailer. They can't carry near as much as the patch trailer because they can't keep it hot. I mean, you've got to lay that stuff before it cools down below 300 degrees. So if you're not utilizing that patch trailer, it's extremely difficult.
Oh, and I got
Hey,
one more.
okay, go ahead.
I'm just with the airport, back in March when I was in Washington DC, I did bring up to Senator Bozeman about $15 million for the airport runway. You know, I brought up at a meeting there, and I just leave it at that. Well, I was going to say, when I was talking to him about that, he said, in which I said from Texas County, I said who I was and all that. He said, I know who you are. So what I'm trying to say is that he'd have been around, and I'd have been around with him for a while, asking questions. I also went to his office, but that was a meeting at the Capitol. I brought that up again about the airport out there. I think the $15 million to extend the runway. So when he get ready, they're supposed to be doing budget. I don't know how the budget process, and they just made me bring that up. So that had been requested. I know the airport authority had been requested, but I just remind him of that because you had different group of people from the state of Arkansas in his presence. So I was just trying to let him be aware that Texas County needs some money too. So thank you. That's it.
Anybody else? If not, the board at this time will have to adjourn into executive session. We have an appointment to make to the Advertising and Post-Promotion Commission, the Airport Authority. I think it's 2 to the Civil Service Commission, and I think 2 to the Planning Commission.